All right, to wrap up my PSA submission and understand like what I submitted, what I priced it against, what the value gain ad was, what the rate of grading a 10 was for my all of the 151 that we pulled, like pack pull sleeve submit, the rate you can expect for that type of process. This is kind of what I'm showing. So I had 6 vintage cards, and I'll get to the good stuff in a second. That we submitted. I thought some of them were in pretty decent condition, and some I just wanted a new were in great condition, but I just wanted to have submitted so that we could put them in a collection and put them in a slab. And for instance, like our Charizard didn't do so well. So what I did is I'm looking at the ungraded price estimate, which is kind of just like an average, I'm guessing, is how it looks like on TCG Player. But I'm doing what I would call like a normalized ungraded price estimate. So basically what I'm doing is I'm assuming that that the graded price or the graded value is essentially what the card would have sold for, not just the average. So like for instance, this Charizard, which graded a 5, well, the average ungraded price estimate is $460. But if you looked at the card, anyone could see that it had some damage to it and it wouldn't grade that well, so it wouldn't go for that price. So all it basically did was assume that the normalized just assumed that if the graded price was lower than the average ungraded price, then we'll just take that as the price for the normalized. There's only one other exception to that rule, is that the price that I actually paid for this Neo Destiny Shining Charizard, which the average ungraded price is $1,400, but I only paid $815 for it, and it ended up grading at a 7. So anyways, all that to say, then after you see that, you get the actual graded price and then the gain and value post after you grade it. So I'll show you exactly how this breaks down and what I paid for PSA to grade it. I did this through gemmint.com. They were a vendor at Collecticon in Atlanta in February. So we dropped our cards off there, so not have to worry about the whole shipping and that sort of stuff, at least getting it there. So this is what I paid prepay. I paid $811 or about $22.53 per card. Later on, after they graded the cards, they gave us a value upcharge for a couple of them. And then so that ended up, we paid $937 for the whole shebang. So next on the actual card distribution, I think this is kind of interesting. So all of the 151 is pretty much rip, pack, sleeve. There was only one card that we had to buy off eBay because we just didn't get lucky enough to get it. That was the Dragonair that we bought off eBay. That one actually graded at 10, so I'm really pleased with that purchase. And then, of course, we had some vintage ones. We submitted the Charizard, they got a 5. We had like my son's Shadowless Charmander, which graded a 6. But anyways, this is kind of what I thought was interesting. This is kind of the distribution you can expect for the pack, the rip pack, and send it to PSA. About an 80% are going to be graded as a 9, and that you're looking at upwards of, let's say, 15 to 20% at a grade 10 rate. So 5 out of our 30 were graded 10. I think we got really, really lucky on our Charizard. Just to go through the 10s that we got again. We got a Gold Mew. We got a Squirtle that graded a 10. We got a Giovanni's Charisma that graded a 10. We got a Dragonair. This is the one I bought off eBay, and we lucked out and it graded a 10. And my camera is trying to do something. This is where we lucked out. The Charizard, which I thought for sure would have been a 9 based on how all the others looked. This one, which is a little off-center in my opinion, somehow came back at 10. Whoever at PSA, they really threw us a bone here. Big time, because that was a huge win. Did not expect that. And then lastly, this metal the Metal Mew Ultra Premium Collector's Edition came back as a 10. So here's how it breaks down. The normalized ungraded price, as you saw how I calculated that, estimate was valued around $2,400. The graded price came back $4,200. So a pretty big increase, which is actually, let's see what that actually is. A 78% increase in value from grading, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, here's the actual raw value post grade. So about $2,000 in post grade value, which is awesome for this set of cards for 151 primarily. But of course, that jump, a lot of that came from that Destiny's Charizard too. So our total paid to PSA $937 and a net value gain $931. If it wasn't for that Charizard coming in at a 10, we would be at a what would be at roughly a yeah, roughly like a $600. Just take off $600 for that. You're looking at a 331 gain, which still isn't too bad because we're still got lucky with our Shining Charizard. But even with grading, it's still a crapshoot. I mean, it's like with everything Pokemon. It feels like there's a bit of gambling involved with everything. So you never are 100% sure what grade you're gonna get. And yeah, I just thought that was cool. That kind of wraps up our whole submission process, and I hope you found this video helpful. Thanks.